Hello everyone. This video presents topic of biodiversity preservation in Kazakhstan. The presenters are Aidana Abdildinova and Aruzhan Yensepbayeva. So let us begin with outlining the main points of the presentation. Firstly, we will cover the introduction, then we will explain the notion of biodiversity and the problem with it. Then we will move on to the projects implemented in Kazakhstan, particularly the Siberian crane wetland project, which will cover the problem of extinction of Siberian crane. Then the second project will be about the steppe conservation and management project, which will cover the extinction of saiga antelope. Then the third project will be Tanshan ecosystem development project, which will cover the extinction of snow leopard. Then we will move on to the relevance to the course. Then we will end our presentation with giving a conclusion. One of the biggest issues prevalent in country's environment is the extinction and endangerment of animals in various regions across the country. Kazakhstan has a significant part of all natural pontic steppes, which occupy over 1.2 million kilometers of the northern and central regions of the country. Steppe ecosystems in Kazakhstan include unique plant species and communities, many globally threatened species of the steppe fauna, but the steppes and mountain regions are the least protected type of ecosystem in Kazakhstan. The main threat to steppe ecosystem in Kazakhstan is the degradation of biodiversity associated with changes in the population, human intervention, as well as the increasing hunting.
The term biodiversity stands for the variety of life forms present in a particular area that is expressed through number of species and genetic types in an area. There has been a direct impact on many of Central Asia's most distinctive species. Moreover, complex man-made pressures on biodiversity has been imposed, such as massive water withdrawal for agriculture with negative implications for life quality, economic performance, health, and environment. Apart from that, there are other challenges for Kazakhstan's biodiversity, such as climate change, pollution, habitat disturbance, and overexploitation. To show a more precise information, there is a chart presented by United Nations Environment Programme's World Conservation Monitoring Center that assesses the state of biological diversity by measuring trends in global populations of vertebrates. These show which ecosystems have the fastest declining species and the impact of humans. The ecological footprint measures human demands on planetary ecosystems. It represents how much biologically productive land and sea is needed to supply human consumption and to cope with the resulting waste. Kazakhstan and Turkmenistan have the highest ecological footprints in Central Asia. That happens mainly due to carbon footprints, as in greenhouse gas emissions. And generally, this exceeds the country's biological capacity, marked as white bar on the chart. According to this, we can see the proportion of endangered flora and fauna in Kazakhstan, importantly the significant large number of red-listed birds and invertebrates, as well as the mammals, the number of which in Kazakhstan have declined almost everywhere, mainly because of habitat loss. Siberian crane is a water bird which status is critically endangered. The natural habitat is northern Kazakhstan, China, and Russia. In order to address the problem of this extincting species, the project of Siberian crane wetland had been introduced. The main cause of the endangerment is increasing demand on water supplies, affecting the population of Siberian crane as well as other water birds. In general, 11 of 15 existing types of crane has become endangered throughout the last years. The solution is to introduce the Siberian crane wetland project, which had been launched by collaboration of several countries, including the Republic of Kazakhstan. The project had an overall investment of $14.7 million from countries all over the world. Focus is on a long-term protection of wetlands, a host of migratory water birds, and other wetland biodiversity. Also aims to ensure legal protection of wetlands, raise the capacity of responsible agencies. So far, it addressed 16 sites and made a large contribution to Biodiversity Conservation Year of 2010, which was the International Year of Biodiversity.
The second project implemented in the territory of Kazakhstan, targeted at the conservation of biodiversity, is Steppe Conservation and Management Project, which particularly targets the preservation of saiga antelope. A few words to be said about the value saiga antelope has in local ecosystem. Firstly, saiga's droppings help fertilize the soil. Saiga's trampling hooves push seeds into the soil, thereby facilitating germination. It also creates habitats for a rich diversity of plant and animal species. It also creates habitat for critically endangered sociable lapwing. Apart from this, it has utilitarian prospects for people. So let's move on to the causes of extinction. Opening borders in Russia and China in 1990s brought a decline in legal controls and economic hardships to local communities. This leads to increasing levels of poaching and selling meat and horns for uses in traditional Chinese medicine. Um, this in turn leads to gender imbalance because traditional Chinese medicine requires meat and horns of the male saiga. Uh, the habitat loss and drought are among the causes of extinction. Uh, it is to be said that by 2002, saigas had been hounded to the edge of extinction. The STEP Conservation and Management Project was formed as a much needed response to these ongoing losses. Led by the government of Kazakhstan in partnership with the Association for the Conservation of Biodiversity in Kazakhstan, the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds, and the Frankfurt Zoological Society, and funded by the Global Environmental Facility and implemented by the United Nations Development Programme, this project has been giving the essential creature and its diverse steppe habitat renewed hope. There are few solutions to be implemented in order to address this problem. Provision of healthy ecosystem for species survival by creating protected areas. Highly strategic landscape-based expansion of existing protected areas. Anti-poaching units are to be created. Also, better understanding of saiga behavior is essential. Saiga population owing to project intervention rose from fewer than 4,000 individuals in 2002 to more than 53,440 in 2010. The last project is the Tanshan Ecosystem Development Project, which targets the conservation of biodiversity, particularly in the Tanshan region of the Kyrgyz Republic and Kazakhstan, which particularly aims to address the problem of extinction of snow leopard. Um, Threats to the Tanshan's unique biodiversity are habitat destruction, overgrazing, poaching, unregulated game hunting, and excessive firewood extraction. An even greater threat is posed by the long-term effects of global warming, which could radically alter the environment and biota in the long term. It is also to be said that 7,000 wild survivors remain worldwide. So there are particular solutions implemented by the project in order to address this problem, which are better understanding the needs and life cycle of snow leopards, increasing public awareness about this problem, promoting sustainable tourism, increase regional cooperation between Kazakhstan and Kyrgyz Republic, provision of small grants for local groups and organizations, opportunities for income generation for local groups. Technical assistance in improving 12 key protected areas are also among the proposed solutions, which include to maintain low-cost livestock protection measures, wildlife information programs, waste management schemes, alternative energy promotion, environmental certification assistance, and site and landscape restoration.
Lastly, it is crucial to notice that the topic is mainly related to the biodiversity discourse covered in class, as it refers to the problem of biodiversity in Kazakhstan, its consequences, and the way people alter it heavily through hunting, directly disturbing habitats, and use of resources. The case described also supports the argument presented that species are always evolving and adapting to environmental change. However, one way they get into trouble that is become endangered is when they do not evolve fast enough to keep up with the environment, which happens in a widespread pattern all across the country. Another notion applicable is the feedback. as positive feedback mechanism, which is resource use and human population growth, to stabilize system that in turn affects the first change. Having said that, we would also like to notice that more has to be done for the sake of conserving the biodiversity of Kazakhstan, as according to the principle of environmental unity, everything affects everything else. And this is all for today. Thank you for your attention.